We've lined up the top stars from Hollywood and from all over the world to entertain you on a giant screen with a few colorful motion pictures you've been hearing about and reading
It's
about.
showtime, folks. Enjoy the show.
We're delighted to have you with us. They're driving theater.
You'll find something to please you to add to your evening's enjoyment.
Is pleased to bring you our feature presentation.
What's up? Hey, what's going on? Welcome to the Driving Speaker Box, guys. It is Monday, May 16th, 2022. You're tuned in to the Driving Speaker Box, your source for movie bullshit.
Hey, that's.
Yeah.
I think that's more
That's our new-
accurately encapsulates.
That's gonna be our bumper sticker. But as always, I'm your host, Bo, the boom operator.
I'm Slick Doggy the Grip.
And he's Jake, and we are here. We're here. Hey, Dina is back already in the chat. If you guys are not tuned in to the chat, you can check this out. We are live Monday nights, 8 o'clock Central Standard Time. You can check us out on Facebook Live, Twitch, or YouTube Live. And Dina back on track. What is going on? Tony over there on YouTube. Shout outs to those guys. Thanks for tuning in, jumping in the stream real early. If you see me like doing Mr. Miyagi, like fly swattings during the show, there are like gnats all in the studio, and it's driving me insane. We live here in Northwest Arkansas, and we've had a lot of rain. McLean and YouTube, hello from Wisconsin. What's up? Right back at you, buddy. A lot of flooding, a lot of rain, but the studio here, this building actually got flooded. We're upstairs. Our suite is upstairs, thankfully, and a lot of water, a lot of moisture. There was like 4 inches of water in some of the suites downstairs. It was really bad, but there's like bugs now. I guess, like water bugs that like mate and give birth in the primordial ooze of the creek that's next to the building here, and it's been driving me nuts. I'm like little flying around my head, and so I'm just like, I've been in here all afternoon just like clapping bugs, and I'm out here clapping bugs.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's new slang for something else, but yeah, we're going to be here talking about movies. The only movie that was in theaters last week that we were talking about, telling you about, was Firestarter. I did not get a chance to go see this because I had a really busy weekend. It was graduation weekend here in Northwest Arkansas, and I run a cocktail bar, so it was a busy weekend for us, but it was also our fourth, aka third anniversary over at Pinpoint this Sunday. So we celebrated our third anniversary on our fourth anniversary because we lost a year in COVID. So we've technically been open for 4 years, but we've only been in business for 3. If you can wrap your brain around how stupid the pandemic has been over the past year, 2 years, that's why. But shout outs to everybody that came and made that a really, really good time. So I didn't get to see Firestarter. Did you see anything?
No, because I was supposed to be doing events and things like this, and right at the last minute, weather ruined them again.
Stupid weather.
So all my opportunities. There were a couple of Indian movies that are out that I was going to try and see, but they were at dumb times. And didn't get to make that work with events. You know what? I tried to watch that dumbass Blood Moon too, and because of our local weather, I didn't get to see it either.
You can't see nothing. The weather can't depend on the weather. If you don't like the weather in Arkansas, wait till tomorrow. And, whatever. But I did watch over the course of this week the new Kids in the Hall. They released all the episodes on Amazon Prime. They're available out there for you to watch. And I'm going to be reviewing the new season of Kids in the Hall later in the program. So stick around for that. We're going to be talking about that. And I don't want to just jump into that review yet. But that's going to be what we're talking about, the new stuff. And, of course, what's coming out in theaters this weekend. And, of course, all the other stuff that we talk about. So, yeah, let's just jump in. Sam over on Facebook went ahead and jumped into one of the things that was on actually my news list today, and it was the new trailer for The Boys season 3.
So while I didn't see the only new movie that came out in the theaters. I did watch a lot of trailers that came out from
Same.
days back up to today. Yeah.
Your favorite trailers from yesterday, the day before, and today.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the Boys season 3, you know, if you've not checked out the Boys, it is you know the newest installment in streaming media to jump on board the sort of parody superhero train. You know, it's not the first time we've seen superheroes being parodied. You know, The Watchmen, not necessarily a parody, but again, one of those sort of meta superhero stories. Is like, what about superheroes that maybe don't have superpowers, or what do they do in their time off? The Tick, another really famous one. Netflix tried a couple of different attempts at this. I don't even remember what the last one was. You've got what's the one? Invincible is one that's going down right now. It's the animated series that's just like a little darker, grittier look at what if people really had superpowers.
Yeah, but Invincible and Boys are comics from like 20 years.
This is true.
So I mean, they're not new. The ideas of them aren't new.
They've been around a minute. And The Boys, if you haven't watched The Boys, it's pretty dadgum good. It's fun. It's energetic. It's violent. It's sexy or whatever. And it's got Carl Urban, who's always pretty cool. And season 3 kind of leaning into more of the story of Homelander, which, you know, everybody's favorite thing to you know, ask what if there was a real Superman, what if he was crazy, and what if we couldn't stop him? And so this continues on. The trailer looks pretty good.
Yeah. So they had released the teaser a while back, and now this is like the full-length red band trailer.
Lots of guts, lots of laser eyes, lots of body splattings.
Billy Butcher getting some superpowers.
What? And he hates supers. But that trailer dropped. That looked pretty good. I am looking forward to that. I can't remember when is it? June 3rd.
Yep.
June 3rd.
I was about to look at my...
Is when that's coming out. So you can mark your calendars for that. Another trailer that I saw this week that I thought was pretty cool. It premiered virtually at the 2022 Sundance Film Festival, but it does look like it's getting a theatrical release. I don't know how wide. It might only be in limited or expanded release. I don't think it's going to get a nationwide release, but it does look really, really good. It's called, it's an indie comedy called Brian and Charles. It's a directorial debut of Jim Archer, and it is about this guy. He's this lonely dude. It's Focus Features is distributing this. Lonely dude who starts to just be bored and start making things and tinkering, and he builds himself a robot friend. And the robot, I guess, becomes sentient somehow, and it's made out of like a washing machine, and it can walk, and it's really ridiculous looking, but full of heart and like that quirky sort of, you know.
It sounds a lot like that Tom Hanks movie where he's in the future and he builds that robot that has gains the personality.
But imagine if, like, you know, Michel Gondry was going to do this, and it was a little more quirky and a little more full of heart. Like, you know, the thing, I think that was on like Apple Plus Minus,
right?
And you know, it was Tom Hanks. It's a like, hey, let's get money project. It was really glossy, really post-apocalyptic future. This is just like a dude that lives in like Britain, and he's like, I'm sad. I guess I'll make myself a robot friend. And you know, it comes to life, and it's like, my name's Charles, and you know, the world is amazing, and I want to be a part of it, and I'm just a robot man. And you know, they find the true meaning of friendship, or I don't know, some fucking feel good shit. You know what it is. Part of my language. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's been a lot. I'm tired, and my filter is like getting thin, and you might notice in my voice, like I've been battling mold and pollen and fungus in the air, and I've just been cleaning this new building, and my throat is raw, and I'm just like, I'm tired. Yeah, you say some news. What happened?
Well, another trailer that I saw, I don't know if you got to see this, but yeah, it's just like a small, itty-bitty, tiny teaser trailer. Prey.
Oh,
the Predator prequel, set 300 years ago.
What?
Predators hunting down Native Americans.
I clicked on this trailer having no idea that this was going to be what it was, and I was like, whoa!
And it's coming to a Hulu near you is what it is. Yeah.
I know, what?
Yeah.
Like,
August,
I want to see that in the theater.
August 5th too, coming out pretty soon.
All these streaming wars. Dan on Facebook loves my British accent. Chef's kiss.
I'm kind of worried about it though, because it's clear that it's like a girl power project, a little bit and everything. But
well, I mean, the thing, here's the thing about, creature features and horror. The final girl has always been kind of a leading role of many horror films. It's like that's kind of what happens. I mean,
sure, yeah, but remember what happened in the last Predator movie with Olivia Munn and all those things, and it was not good.
That's the thing that I like to reiterate when we say something like, oh, it just seems so girl powery. Like there is a way to do.
There's a really good way to do
female leads. There is a way to be inclusive. There's a way to be diverse. There's a way to just make kick-ass films without making it feel so preachy and checklisty, and when you start doing that, where the purpose of the character casting and the narrative drive of that character becomes so focused on making sure you're checking boxes, you start to do a disservice to the demographic that you're trying to represent, instead of just creating a great character and telling a great story. I think that people have this disconnect when you hear people critique these things like, oh, you're just blah, blah, blah. Oh, do you just want white men in it? It's like, no, just do the character justice. Don't just put it in there because you want to not get people mad on Twitter. Like, do it right.
Yeah, and I don't know how they're going to make it work with predators having been as difficult to kill as they are in Predator and Predator 2 and Predators and all of these things, the Predator, with modern tech and weapons, because Yautja have their armor and spacefaring technology, so how are bow and arrows and some atlatls?
I don't know. Ask Dutch. He's covered in mud, being like, I'm right here, kill me, do it. And
that was after they'd already shot the Predator and all that stuff.
And he's like,
but he also had logs and spikes and like
he Ewoked that Predator real hard, and it was awesome. Like the first Predator movie, it's Dutch figured it out.
Yeah, but they're not going to have that with bow and arrows and atlatls and stone axes and whatever it is they're going to have them fighting them with. So we'll see how it goes. I hope it's good because I like Predator a lot.
Everybody likes Predators.
But being a Hulu thing too, it's like you got to have a streaming service. Who knows? I've
always wanted like a shoulder cannon.
Oh yeah.
Like the.
And then another trailer for a series starring Jeff Bridges and John Lithgow. Did you see this?
Is that the one? It's called the Old Man.
The Old Man. Yeah. And
Jeff
it's just
Bridges.
About Jeff Bridges' character, some sort of like secret agent, badass
with a set of skills,
whatever. Yeah, basically.
Look at all these old dudes being like mega killer guys. Like, come on, like, where's our new action guys? Where are you guys?
Why do you need them? Jeff Bridges is cool, dude. So
everyone's like, oh, The Rock, and it's like, isn't he 50? Yeah. I mean, like, even our young new action dudes are getting old at being old action dudes.
Well,
this new crop of action dudes.
A couple things talking about old dudes. Not exactly movies, but Ric Flair announced his final match, when and where it's going to take place.
Wait, he's still wrestling? I thought he got canceled.
One more. Nope.
I thought he was just like, I was on a jet and I had sex with like 1,000 ladies and I gave one of them my watch and whatever.
He helicoptered his penis and asked like one of the flight attendants to touch it. That's old news. It's from like
That's it. I mean, this is what Ric Flair does. You helicopter your penis and say
the plane ride from hell is a very well documented and well known thing amongst all wrestling fans.
Is it a helicopter ride or a plane ride?
Plane ride.
Okay.
Yeah. Anyhow,
helicopters, planes.
The point is, it's old news. Everyone's had time to get over that kind of a thing. But Jim Crockett Promotions is going to air on Fight TV. It's going to be in Nashville at the Nashville Fairgrounds on July 31st. So look.
Is he just going to come out and be like, "Smoke my weed, woo!" And like, it's just, doesn't he have a weed company with Mike Tyson now?
I have no idea.
I'm pretty sure because he has a podcast, I think, too. Where
Ric Flair's had a podcast for a long time.
Yeah, and I think he's started a weed company with like edible gummies and stuff with Mike Tyson. and because I guess they're homies now.
I have no idea. But
Canceled athletes of the 80s and 90s banding together and starting businesses.
Well, that's something pretty exciting. You know what? Talking about Mike Tyson, it was in the news. I mean, Mike Tyson's been in movies and stuff. Why not? He punched that dude in the head on that plane, and turns out he's not getting in any trouble because everyone was like, "Yeah, that guy was annoying."
That guy was a butthole,
and there was nothing that could be done at however many thousand feet. So yeah, sock him. Who cares? But also, old dudes in the news. Spinal Tap 2 is going to be a thing.
They're turning up to 12, I guess, now. So 11's not enough. Spinal Tap, I haven't seen it in a long time, and it's a classic. Everybody loves Spinal Tap, but I don't know how well this is gonna translate. And
why not? They have more decades to show how they've changed and tried to fit in and stuff like that, so they can have Spinal Tap go through like a grunge phase or something. They can have them go through
all these
new metal phase,
decades of genres.
Because in the original movie they like do Flower People, and they do the
so all the genres of the time.
Yeah, they do like the Beach Boys thing and all that, and the Give Me Some Money, and
God,
then
give me some money.
Give me some money.
But Rob Reiner's actually coming back to direct, which is pretty interesting. And Christopher Guest is a hilarious dude, and they're Michael McKean, Harry Shearer, which I didn't realize I thought Harry Shearer was like in really bad like cancer shape. Maybe I read that wrong. Like maybe it was a different Simpsons voiced person that was not in good shape. But it's really, I mean, this is exciting. I think it's gonna, those guys, if they are allowed to do whatever they want to do, I think it'll be really funny. But if they're being under pressure by the studios, it could be weird. But getting the original gang back together, I mean, with Rob Reiner at the helm, could be pretty cool. And I mean, gosh, it's only been since 1984. Like this is an old ass movie. But Vince says over on Twitch, Sam Simon. Okay, he's the one that died from cancer. I knew it was somebody Simpsons related. But he also Vince over on Twitch also says the guys in Spinal Tap are under contract. If they don't perform as Spinal Tap every few years, they lose their rights. So what do they do just like a best in show, like at someone's patio.
Yeah.
And they're just like, yeah, invite only. Spinal Tap's playing. And
maybe. That'd be really cool.
Yeah.
You know what, though? Talking about music, movies, and things like that, apparently Lisa Marie Presley is very impressed and happy with the new Elvis movie.
From director Baz Luhrmann.
Yeah, she said that the portrayal of Elvis in the new movie is unprecedented and finally done accurately and respectfully. So she's very happy with Austin Butler's portrayal of her father. She thinks it's spot on, that he nailed it. And she said, yeah, Baz Luhrmann, she's very happy with it and praised him for the entirety of the film. So looks like maybe Elvis might end up being okay because
I was skeptical.
His child is like, yep, for the first time ever portrayed on film, that's my dad. So
it's big words.
Yeah, we'll see how that movie goes when it comes out.
Sam over on Facebook says Bruce Campbell was the best Elvis, and
no. Movie, he talks about a boil the entire movie.
The movie's about a mummy that sucks your soul out of your butthole. Like, it's a good movie. It's a fun movie. Bubba Hotep.
The movie's about a boil on his nether regions that he won't not talk about.
Bubba Hotep's
for like 2 hours.
Bubba Hotep is a weird movie.
It's a weird movie,
and it's not a bad movie. It's just a weird movie. And like the wheelchair black John F. Kennedy, his best friend in the nursing home.
It's been a long time since I watched it, and it just annoyed me because the whole time you just talked about how uncomfortable he was.
Do men's genitalia make you uncomfortable, Jake?
No, it's just him talking about it for 2 hours.
Did someone hurt you, Jake?
No.
You can talk about it?
No. Hey, you know what, though? Talking about that, in bad news to do with movies and...
Speaking of men's testicles.
Yeah. According to, the news articles, they're like, Doctor Strange star. a lady in the
Pizza
back.
Papa?
yeah. He, a lady that was in the first Doctor Strange movie years ago just got sentenced to 8 years in prison alongside her husband, who got 14 years for the sexual assault of teenage girls. Yeah, bad news. And apparently she still had fans of her.
We're in the wrong multiverse.
Acting career in the audience when she was sentenced and taken away to prison. But at least someone is being put away for that. You can't have people like that out there. That's no
She'll be
good.
deleted from the scenes.
Yep.
She will be a deleted scene.
I don't have a good transition for anything else. David Tennant is coming back as Doctor Who for all you Doctor Who fans out there. He's coming back again for the 60th anniversary. They're filming scenes that will air next year. Apparently, I guess last time he came back was for the 50th anniversary.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't realize it had been that long since he was the Doctor.
Doctor Who's old.
Yeah, but I thought David Tennant was the Doctor more recently than that. But I guess 2010 was...
It moves quick.
Or
that's a long...
2005 or something. Was like, it's been a long time since he was the Doctor. But he's going to be back next year.
So you get into Doctor Strange or Who Doctors? See, my first experience with Doctor Who was like in elementary school, and like I think like once a week or once every 2 weeks, it was like library day, and so your homeroom gets like shoved into the library so that your teacher can not be around you for a minute, and every single one of those library days, we'd go to the library and the librarian could give absolutely less craps about us and kids and reading and knowledge and scholastics and whatever.
It's an awful librarian.
I mean, yeah, it was a totally awful librarian. And, but every time for like library day, they just wheel the CRT card out, and it's like, well, we're watching Doctor Who, and it was an episode of like 1970s Doctor Who, right? And it was the weirdest show, and I'm like a fifth grader, and we're watching old reruns of Doctor Who, and from then on out, I have these weird fuzzy like Channel 3 when you're trying to hook up your Nintendo memories of Doctor Who, and I've never really been able to like get back into it, because every time I think about like, oh, Doctor Who, I'm like, oh yeah, I'm only reminded about Doctor Who by, and I say this with love, everybody that's might be out in the audience watching, huge geeks that are just like,
It's
super
like,
into the TARDIS. And,
American sci-fi is too mainstream. I gotta seek out the BBC.
and like everybody I've ever met that's like super into Doctor Who, it's like a super huge geek, and I love all of you, but it's like theater kids and like geeky Magic the Gathering, like people that aren't even invited to Magic the Gathering. I don't know, you guys are nerds, and but I don't know. Teach me your ways. I have a Doctor Who pinball machine. It seems like it could be a lot of fun, but then I go watch an episode and it's like a trash can with a bubble pipe on the front of its nose being like, must kill the Doctor. And it's like, why don't you just tip it over? Like, what's that thing going to do? Get in your phone booth, like Bill and Ted Away, and do another timeline? Like, what the hell is the show even about? So I don't know. Yeah, it's weird. Dina says Tom Baker was the best. Exterminate the Doctor.
Yeah, they have a British accent. Hey, you know what? Talking about extreme nerds and big geeks and weebs, Dragon Ball Super Hero movie finally got its outside of Japan release date, which is in August. So we're finally getting it following the Toei hack that delayed it from being released already, because then they were moving it. Weeb. Thanks, Vince. We were supposed to have it already. It got pushed back to like June or July, and then it got pushed back again. So I think Japan's getting it next month or July, and then a lot of the English-speaking world will be getting it in theaters, released by Crunchyroll in August. So that's something exciting coming up to see that.
And you were pretty pumped about some One Piece stuff that's going on right now.
Yeah, well, I'm not currently watching One Piece, but here the last couple of like days or weeks, my Facebook is blown up by One Piece news with the I guess the anime currently has the fight between Luffy, Kaido, and Big Mom, and that's like a huge deal for everybody. And the manga recently, they decided to point out that Luffy has some sort of insane devil fruit that's like super rare that made it where Luffy goes Super Saiyan. He has like cloud hair.
So is it Dragon Ball Peace?
Kind of, yeah. I don't know. I'd have to find a weeb and ask him more about it, but it looks pretty cool.
Okay, all right. Well, One Piece news,
Dude, talk about huge nerds though. Huge nerd fandom about space things.
They're in space. I thought they
No,
were like
no.
old pirates.
What? Yeah, One Piece is.
Yeah.
No, but dude, Dune
Oh gosh, casting Christopher Walken
as the Emperor. He's gonna be the Emperor.
That's gonna be so cool. Like that could not be more perfect. Like Christopher Walken in the Duneverse could not be better. Like
The
Christopher
spice.
Walken.
You're taking my spice all wrong. Like it's gonna be stupid.
The Hakanen are out of control.
Yeah.
The spice is powerful,
Yeah.
and we need it.
Yeah.
Hakanen.
I want to see it so bad.
It's gonna be so good.
I hate that this movie was not filmed in its two parts at the same time, like I was led to believe that it was, because why am I having to wait? The first part was good, and now I need ridiculous Christopher Walken as
man.
the Emperor.
Atreides,
Yeah.
your house. Atreides. Let's see. Vince says, speaking of sci-fi, did you see that Picard will stop after its third season? Thank God.
I've never one time in my involvement of Star Trek Facebook groups or knowing people that like Star Trek and talking to people about it have ever had one person be like, dude, Picard is so good. Or being like, oh man, that last episode of Picard, it made it worth it. It's sick. Every time everyone's like, well, this thing happened in Picard. It's not good.
It's like,
Yeah.
we like Patrick Stewart, and we're going to keep watching episodes because we don't know how long we'll be able to continue to see him on screen. So, therefore, we'll watch the next season of Picard. But, yeah, no one is going like, hell yeah. Yeah, Picard, I can't wait. I can't wait for the exciting conclusion.
Well, and I guess with Strange New Worlds,
a lot of people have been talking
coming
about
out-
that being good. I haven't.
Oh,
Picard has got me soured a little bit, so I
Mm-hmm.
haven't started watching Strange New Worlds, but I have heard really good things.
Oh, I mean, you got Discovery, Lower Deck, Strange New Worlds, Picard. You have
a lot of Trek.
Orville season 3 coming out soon. Can't wait for that. So there's a lot of stuff going on, and it's easy for it to look like garbage. So I don't know, man. I have no desire to ever watch any of those shows I listed except for Orville.
Orville's the best Trek that's come out in a long time, and it's not even Trek.
Yeah, I
so-
saw a thing about Picard the other day that said that they made it where Q is mortal and the Borg are actually good guys, and something else that was just completely not okay. So
It's whack. Picard is whack. Other weird stuff that's being remade. I don't know if you saw this popping around the internet. First look at Amblin HBO team up, HBO Max animated series Gremlins: Secret of the Mogwai.
animated series.
Yeah, animated series. They released some, character side by side. James Hong, who got his star on the
Hollywood
Hollywood
star,
Walk of
yeah.
Fame, finally.
At like 93.
Yeah, and still acting. He's in movies. He's doing voices for this Secrets of the Mogwai show. You got BD Wong. BD Wong is always great. He's had a really awesome career, and some up and comers. You've got Isaac Wang and Ming-Na Wen.
Oh yeah,
in.
big up and comer Ming-Na Wen.
No, the kid. Yeah, Ming-Na Wen's been in everything. She's awesome. But I'm talking about this kid. I've never seen him before, Isaac Wang. I think he's done some other stuff in Cartoon Network, but I'm not very versed on my Cartoon Network right now. But I don't really like the animation style. It's pretty much what's currently in a lot of different things, but we will see. I don't know.
Have you seen about what Vince just said? That they're shopping around an animated Married with Children show?
I mean, are they trying to like Family Guy it, or Simpsons it?
I haven't seen anything about that.
Like, that's another show that, I understand its impact on, pop culture and, an incredible cast. And, some of them were funny, but I guess, I don't know. I've never really gotten into sitcoms. Like, I watched them growing up. I watched a lot of sitcoms growing up, and it was stuff to watch because there was nothing else on. But like going back, I don't know. I like Married with Children wasn't a big thing for. I mean, I watched it.
You didn't like things like
and Home Improvement. I watched Roseanne.
Cheers,
I watched it. I mean, I kind of watched
Night
Cheers.
Court.
I kind of watched Night Court. I just never really
Taxi.
That was a little before my time, but I watched reruns of it. I mean, Gilligan's Island. I watched the stuff, and I just never could.
You didn't like Gilligan?
I mean, I kind of did because the professor was cool, and I was getting ready for school, and it was on TV Land.
What
or
about
something.
the Munsters and Addams Family?
I mean, I like the Addams Family because it was about creepy spookies, and I don't know how to say this. I don't want to break. You might think of me differently. I never really got into the Munsters either.
You didn't like the Munsters?
I liked the character design, and I liked that it was like about spooky things because I like spooky things. But just sitcoms, I can't with laugh tracks and all that. I don't the same set over and over and over and over, and it's like someone comes in the door and it's like laugh track. Here's Al Bundy, and he sits on the couch and puts his hand in his pants, and it was like, and I'm like, okay, yeah.
You didn't like Fresh Prince?
Now Fresh Prince I did kind of like, but it wasn't always in the same house. There was.
Sometimes they were at school.
Sometimes they were at school.
Eventually, Will moved into the pool house, and the scenery changed just a little bit.
Like, but even then, I'm just like, I don't know. I've never been a sitcom guy, and everyone's like, "Oh, Modern Family's so funny," and I'm like, ugh.
Modern Family was a pretty good show.
I don't know. Maybe something inside of me is broken, but I just can't do sitcoms. I don't know. I wish I could. Maybe like sitcoms are like, I'm one of those people that tastes soap, or I'm like when you eat cilantro, but I love cilantro and I can't, I taste cilantro and it's beautiful. But maybe that's how it is for sitcoms for me. Like, it tastes good for everybody else, but for me, there's something in my brain that's like, ugh, soap, and I can't do it. Vince says, I watched the first season of Modern Family and didn't want any more family.
Sam said it sucks on toast.
Yeah, and Vince says, come on, Al, let's have sex. No, Peg, toilet flush. That's every episode of Married with Children. It's true. Sam says News Radio was good.
I bet you like Spin City.
With Michael J. Fox?
Mm-hmm.
I watched some episodes, but I just...
Seinfeld?
Now, Seinfeld, I did watch a lot of Seinfeld and Curb Your Enthusiasm. That humor sort of hit with me, but I didn't do the Friends thing. I didn't do. I don't know. There's just, I guess nothing ever happens in there in these shows that gives me a desire to watch another one. I'm like, I don't care enough about these characters to see, if they'll get the black and white cookie. Like, I don't know. I don't know. But Small Wonder, no, I did not watch Small Wonder. And even Wonder Years, I didn't watch a lot of that. I mean, it was
not
there.
a sitcom. Wonder Years is a sitcom. It's a slice of life drama.
Well, still couldn't. I don't know. Frasier, couldn't get in Frasier. What? I know. I don't know what's wrong with me.
I watched all those. I was big on Wonder Years when I was a kid, and then when friggin' Fred Savage comes home and or Winnie comes home and he didn't wait on her, I was like, oh, you suck so bad. Hated him. Hated everything about the ending of Wonder Years. It's the worst. Also, oh hey, that was in the news. Fred Savage kicked off of the New Wonder Years or whatever. They're like, oh, nope.
Yep. Sucks to suck, Fred. James says sitcoms are for the commoners. Dina says, well, Dina got me. Dina got me on Pete and Pete.
Is Pete and Pete a sitcom? That's kind of like a slice of life, teenage life. Like,
so it's also
Salute Your Shorts was a sitcom.
Man, I
Hey
liked
Dude was a sitcom.
I didn't like Hey Dude. I did like
What?
Salute.
Hey Dude was so good.
I like Salute Your Shorts.
Yeah.
But I think maybe I like Salute Your Shorts because I was traumatized in a summer camp once, and I was just like, oh, I wish it was like this, and I want to. But Pete and Pete was an incredible series. It was only like 1 season or 2 seasons of Pete and Pete. It was an incredible
Shorter
show.
than I remember it being. Yeah.
No, do. And it was an amazing, kind of like Freaks and Geeks. Freaks and Geeks was one of these shows that's way ahead of its time, and everybody talks about it was only 1 season, not very many. But speaking of that, I think this is a really good transition. Speaking of Pete and Pete and that 90s style, like guitar, Kids in the Hall. Not a sitcom, sketch comedy from the early 90s. And the new season, I was very skeptical. It's out. It's out on Amazon Prime. We were talking about it. It's the same original kids getting together, being okay. We got to do a reboot. Did you ever watch The Kids in the Hall?
No, I never liked it.
See, okay. Tomato over here. Like over here, like, oh, like Frasier. Kids in the Hall? Nah, not my speed.
Out of the sketch comedy shows, it was kind of like the
best one.
No.
Yeah, you're right.
No. SNL and SCTV were leagues ahead of it, and I just couldn't. Mad TV was better.
Well, Mad TV was later. They just as Vince just comes in, he's like, I want to crush Jake's head. I'm crushing your head.
Come try it, dude.
A lot of good characters came out of Kids in the Hall, and my pen, and all these Mark McKinney, Kevin McDonald, Dave Foley, all these. Dave Foley went on to news radio. These are really hilarious dudes. That Bruce McCullough, they're all super funny, and then of course, one of God's gifts to this earth in comedy is Scott Thompson. And one of the things that I think that made Kids of the Hall so iconic back in the day when, Lorne Michaels took a chance on these guys, and they were pushing envelopes. They were making people uncomfortable in a time where, not everybody was talking about LGBTQ stuff. Not everybody was talking about transgender stuff. Cross-dressing was not represented in a way on screen that it was like, oh my gosh, it's a guy dressed as a girl. That's hilarious. But they were playing characters dressed as women all the time, and it wasn't weird. It was like, yes, they're doing comedy skits, but they're not making fun of the fact that they're dressed as women. They are just playing female characters, and it's they did it in a way that was really, really fun and really fascinating, and pushing the envelope, making people question things, and then being absurdist about it at the same time. And as James points out, they did have a movie in the 90s called Brain Candy, or it was actually, I want to say maybe late 90s, early 2000s, but they do reference that in this new series. And as Vince says on Twitch, it wasn't in living color drag like Shanae, where
okay, so I retract a previous statement. In Living Color was probably the least funny one, only because I liked David Allen Greer.
An early Jim Carrey?
No, not for me.
Well, anyway, this new Kids in the Hall impressed me. It's hilarious. They go for the rafters. They clearly were given somewhat carte blanche, like, make Kids in the Hall like you would have made Kids in the Hall. Like, it doesn't feel. It feels like they, of course, obviously took a really long period of time, and they're all old men, either in their 60s or pushing 60. And so, of course, the humor is going to be a little bit different in the characters that they can play, even though they try to go back and play young characters. And like, aren't you a little old, to be a kid? But it's
like, who's the guy from Kids in the Hall that's in Sky High? And
Kevin McDonald.
Yeah, and he puts on his sidekick outfit and he jumps back in it. Is it like that?
Basically,
Yeah.
And they resurrect some old characters from the show, but they're always aware of what they're doing. And one of the other fun things is they re-recorded the same intro, which was a very classic, iconic. It's the same song, guitar song, and it's all on 8mm. But they go back and they recreate a lot of that stuff with themselves in the time. So the pacing and the format is very much Kids in the Hall, unlike some other reboot shows that try to like reinvent the wheel and like modernize the format to make it new and fresh. It's like, no, there was nothing broken with the format. Let's just do it again. And it's a lot of fun. I mean, obviously there's going to be some sketches that fall a little boring because they can't all be winners. But I thought it was Kids in the Hall, man, and it was really good to see them all together, playing these characters, having fun on screen, and you forget how talented a lot of these guys are as comedians, and the range of fun characters that they play, and they look like they're having a good time with each other, and that's fun to watch, and their chemistry is just impeccable. You watch other things like Mad TV and even Saturday Night Live, there's always a couple of cast members that never really feel like they fit in, or they're just like, it's a paycheck, we're in a sketch with this person. They don't seem like they're a family. And Kids in the Hall, there is such amazing chemistry between all of like 5 of them or how many of there are. And it's just super, super, super fun to watch.
It's more like Monty Python, where there's a smaller cast and they all
play everything.
Yeah. Unlike SNL, who has some people that just do writing, some people that just do the acting. They got the featured players, and yeah, I see what you're saying.
And Vince says when he first heard that theme, he felt like he was in good hands. Same, like that boom, 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 like it's just, you're like, okay, here we go. Vince says, can I say something I hated about the intro? The guy blowing smoke into the woman's mouth. I hit skip every. I mean, it's vape. Like, it's kind of a weird scene where these two people are at a carnival. And, I mean, I see that shit all the time on Dixon Street. Like, people are, like, blowing vape in each other's faces and, like, weed smoke. And it's a weird thing, and it's kind of grody. So I understand. It doesn't trigger me as much, but it is grody. And save it for bedroom puffs or whatever it is that you need to do. Yeah, let's see. Sam says, watching it on a weekday while everyone else is at work is exactly what I was doing 25 years ago. And yeah, like for me, Kids in the Hall was one of those things that it was, I was still a kid, and it was, the humor was, a little bit over my head, and I wasn't probably supposed to be watching it, but I'd sneak it, and I was like, ha, 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 and it was really funny, and it felt like something I wasn't supposed to do. One of my favorite skits of all time is, and I still reference the skit and no one gets it, is the Try It Now, and it's Scott Thompson and I think Dave Foley, and they're a couple, and they're going to town and getting into the car, and the car doesn't start right, and Scott Thompson's playing he's the most flamboyantly gay character or real life member of the team, and he's Mr. Dad, and he goes out there and he kicks the tire and he's try it now, and then he goes around and does he cleans the window. Try it now, and then repaints the car. Try it now, and he just like opens the hood and stares at it for a while and goes, "Try it now," and then it's just the dumbest thing ever. He does everything that you shouldn't do, that would do nothing, and eventually there was like a baby stuck in the engine. It was just stupid and ridiculous and just hilarious all at the same time. But Vince says I talked about that here a few weeks. It's my favorite skit. It's so funny. But anyway. Kids in the Hall, you don't have to know about Kids in the Hall to appreciate the humor here, but it definitely helps. It will make it feel more comforting, like macaroni and cheese, just like comfort food that makes you remember things. But it's worth a watch. It's on Amazon Prime. You can check it all out. It's there. Mm-hmm.
How about that?
Did you watch anything? Anything at all?
Nope. I was working, having events canceled, getting hailed on.
Hail Married.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, okay. Well, then
There wasn't anything. What are we supposed to watch? I watched all
Firestarter. Man,
Yeah.
Firestarter not doing good at the box office.
I had to watch
this
all
week,
the
man.
trailers and see about the things and
Yeah,
figure out if I want to keep Netflix and what streaming services I want to get rid of. But then they release the trailers and they're like, but if you want to watch Predator prequel, you got to hold on to Hulu for a while. And it's like, ugh.
Hulu. Do you pay for full price Hulu?
No, I used to when live TV first came out, and it was a good idea. And I was like, screw cable.
It's also like $50.
Yeah, I was like, screw that. I'll just get Hulu with live TV, and it was cheap and not so bad. And then like, but now it's going to be more expensive, more expensive, more expensive. And now it's like $85. I'm like, what's the difference in that and cable? So I got rid of that.
Not much.
And I only have it because it's a Disney bundle, whatever. So
Oh, Disney.
I need to get rid of some streaming services.
Vince says his Hulu's like $100 a month.
Yeah,
That
exactly.
is
Because
crazy.
they just kept raising it, and I was like, "There's no way." It started out like $40. I was like, "I'll pay $40 for live TV," and then they got rid of the channels that made it worth it. And I was like, "Well, why do I even have this?" And then I paid for no commercials, and there were still commercials. And then the DVR wasn't a real DVR. It would, instead of recording what you wanted it to record, like when I was watching Raw, I was like, I want to watch 3-hour Raw. And it was like, well, you get the 2-hour version, and all the good matches have been chopped out. So it was pointless, and I got rid of it because
Microtransactions.
Yeah.
Just trying to get your money any chance they get. We've talked about it. It's only going to get worse before it gets better. Inflation, dude. Supply chain. Everything's on the cloud. Going to have to pay for it. Vince says they now have unlimited DVR for free at least, but I mean, is it really for free if you're paying $100 a month?
Yeah, exactly.
So.
You know what? Before we talk about how much dollars Firestarter did or did not make, what's coming out this weekend?
Oh, we didn't even talk about that because not much. There is two things coming out, which Dina says didn't even know Firestarter was being made. I thought that was just a trailer. Big fail. Well, and we'll talk about that here in just a second because, yes, marketing disaster. But opening this week, May 20th, 2022, we skipped right over this part of the show this week. Downton Abbey, A New Era. Jake, I think you need to go review this.
Well, my fiance is a big fan of Downton Abbey, so she said we're going to watch that, so I probably will.
Well, all right, sir. Downton Abbey. Follow up to the 2019 feature film, which the Crawley family and the Downton staff receive a royal visit from the King and Queen of Great Britain. And directed by Simon Curtis. It's got all the people in it. And, Dina's pumped about it. Vince is pumped about it.
Vince, maybe now that I have someone in my life that loves Downton Abbey, I'm sure she'll be more than happy to rewatch the episodes. I'll have her watch them with me, and I can do the reviews everyone wanted after I watched that one episode where there was that terrible
Stupid
soft
fight.
Struggle fight.
Ugh, sir.
Yeah. But the trailer for this one is very Maggie Smith heavy. So that seems pretty rad because Granny Wendy, dude. She's
Granny
been
Wendy.
old forever.
Yeah, she's the Wilford Brimley of our generation or something. I don't know. She's like came out of the womb like old and wrinkly.
Yeah, Night Ashley said the same thing that Ash told me when she saw the trailer for Downton Abbey. It's like, I didn't even realize there was a first movie because I asked her if she saw the last movie when she was like, oh, we have to watch it. And she's like, first movie? I'm like, yeah, there's the first movie.
There is.
And this one's like split settings. Like half of them go to the Riviera or something like that.
Cool, rich people stuff. But yeah, Downton Abbey, New Era, coming out this week in theaters. The other one coming out this week, it's weird. Like, I'll probably go see this, even though I'm so sick of seeing this trailer. And it's called Men. It's from director Alex Garland. It's got Jesse Buckley, Rory Kinnear, Gail Rankin. It's you've probably seen the trailer. It's a horror movie about this young woman. She goes on this vacation in the English countryside after her ex-husband, I guess, commits suicide. And there's this like one dude who's like constantly giving her shit, but in the form of other people, and it's like he's some sort of creature. It looks very weird and very unsettling. But I believe it's Rory Kinnear. I'm just tired of looking at his face already from just this trailer. I'm like, oh my god, this dude's creeping me out. It's almost like an Aphex Twin video, like an old Christopher Columbus Aphex Twin video from the 90s, where it's just like everybody's got, Richard D. James' face on him. And that is just unsettling in its own right. But yeah, I mean, that's coming out this weekend. Creepy horror film. With that indie flavor, that sort of indie horror, which is really in right now. Everybody's trying to capitalize on that A24 style of indie horror. So everybody's like, oh, yeah, that's an A24 movie, right? And it's like, no, it's just indie horror. There's a lot of movies coming out right there, right, that have that style. I mean, I am looking forward to Nope, the new Jordan Peele horror film. That'll be cool.
Well, not to get too far ahead, but you know what? If this past week's movies and this week's movies aren't really your thing because there's no big, huge, exciting releases that have been pumped up and things like that, next week we finally get Top Gun.
Oh, next week? Yeah. All right. Assuming nothing goes wrong.
Don't take it away from me again, man. I've been waiting so long.
2 years. I wish I still had my cup that was like June 2020, Top Gun. And they were giving, I mean, for a long time at AMC, you're drinking out of the Top Gun cups. But yeah, that's what's coming out this weekend in theaters. So tune in next week if you want to hear reviews on either one or both of those. We will probably talk about one or both of those. But speaking of Firestarter, not doing well. It did not get a good marketing push. Like, this is one of these movies. I think it is also simulcasting online on one of the streaming services. I think it's on Peacock as well. It did not do very well. It's not making a whole lot of money. We're going to go over the box office here in just a minute.
Is that where all their advertising is? Is they just advertise on Peacock?
I guess. Like, and it's, I kind of want to see this because, I kind of like the original, and it looked like, they were trying to do it justice, but maybe it was too close, and it just kind of looks like the original, just with a better camera. I don't know. But Firestarter not doing good this week, but it was the only movie to come out this last week. So with that said, let's jump into the domestic box office report for the weekend of May 13th through 15th, 2022. These are domestic numbers only because those are the only ones that the studios care about. So if it does good in, Zimbabwe, it doesn't matter. If it doesn't do good in the United States, you're not going to see a sequel. So it all depends on the good old US of A if they're going to greenlight this thing. So we're going to start with number 10. We're going to move our way up to number 1. And Jake, take it away, man.
All right, number 10, we got The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent. Dropping down, it got just over $1 million this week, bringing its 4-week total to $18.229 million. I don't think it's doing what they wanted, but it is still making some money worldwide. It has
5.5.
Yeah, so it has about 24 million total globally. I think it could have done with a little bit more advertising prior to release as well. I think that's something that a lot of these movies definitely lacked. I didn't know about Firestarter until you said something on it on last week's show.
It just stuck out there.
And that one, the only reason I knew about it was because there was a poster in our local movie theater, but I hadn't seen any trailers for it until a day or two before release.
And that's really weird because, guys like we're in the theater like almost weekly, and for us to not see a trailer for something is pretty rare. And it's like
it's usually I'm like, I'm over this trailer.
Well, like the Men trailer, I'm just like, I'm so tired of seeing this trailer. It's like every single movie I go to, I see this trailer. And it was kind of how like Bad Guys was another one. I'm like, I'm so tired of seeing this trailer.
Yeah, and as excited as I am for Top Gun, I'm really tired of watching Miles Teller be like, my dad was Goose and he died, so I hate you, dude.
So that's why I have this mustache, so you remember that he was Goose's son.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm over it. Coming in number 9, opening at number 9, Family Camp brought in $1.4 million in its first week. I don't even know what that movie is. Talking about movies that don't advertise.
Looks terrible.
Sounds dumb.
Vince, I'm going to pause you right there. Vince asked an interesting question, and he said, how much would a domestic bomb have to make overseas for an American studios to care? And my favorite example of this is 2016's Warcraft. Warcraft was a movie that had a budget of $160 million. That's a pretty substantial budget, right? Al says, I'm tired of the Bob's Burger trailer.
I've only seen it twice.
That's one I've seen it a lot. I'm kind of getting tired of it as well. Dina says John Carter is a good example, but I like World of Warcraft because World of Warcraft had a $160 million budget, and domestically it only made $47 million here in the U.S. That is a big ass bomb. That's $100+ million bomb. But in the international market, it made almost $400 million. Like in China alone, it just like kicked butt. So it made $439 million worldwide on a budget of 160. That is a successful film by any stretch of the imagination. No sequel, because they're like, nope, there is no audience here in the U.S. for this movie, so we're not going to make another one. And it's clearly a successful movie, but it just did not make the numbers here in the States that they wanted it to, so they just axed it. And John Carter, that's another pretty good example.
John Carter actually did make its budget back or something like that, but Disney just didn't care. They dropped its advertising and all that stuff. And
it barely made its budget back. So it had a $250 million budget, and it only made $284. So it did not lose money. It did not. It just did not make as much as they had hoped.
Well, because they cut off all of its lifelines before they put it out there. It was like the Tick on Fox, where they canceled it before they released it. But people were like, "Hey, we got it. We got to have it." They're like, "Fine, here's 13 episodes. Deal with it. We're
over it."
Yeah.
But anyway, so those are two really good examples of just something that it makes its money, but they're like, nah, dude, not going to happen. So anyway, number 8.
All right, continuing. At number 8, The Lost City, still hanging in there, brought in another $1.7 million, bringing its 8-week total up to $97.1. That movie killed it.
Yep.
I actually still kind of want to watch it just because I like Daniel Radcliffe and
Adventures.
Channing Tatum and Adventures, and it might. Who knows? It might actually be a good movie. 7, another one hanging in there, Northman, which actually is now available, I think, for streaming too.
Yep.
It brought in 1.7, bringing its 4-week total up to 31 domestically. So good on it. Still hanging in there for a smaller.
You can rewind
movie.
A few episodes back and check out our review of that one.
And then we'll see. Hopefully, it'll be successful on some of the home streaming type thing. Number 6, Fantastic Beasts: Secrets of Dumbledore.
I'm surprised this one's still up here.
I am too, as bad as it is, but there haven't been enough releases to really knock it out. Firestarter is not going to be one to kick it out of there, and I don't know if Downton Abbey is going to be enough to do it either. It brought in 2.5 this week on its 5th week, totaling it at just over $90 million. That's probably not good for that movie.
Well, it's. I don't have access to it. It's total budget, but I know it's a lot. It's only made $378 million worldwide. So
sure, and I think that's far under what they would expect of anything Harry Potter.
Right.
For sure. Number 5, remaining at the number 5 spot, Everything Everywhere All at Once, not to be confused with how that should have been the name of the Doctor Strange movie. Brought in $3.3 million this week. 8 weeks out there. I don't think all 8 weeks of those were wide release.
2 very limited releases. Weeks.
But it has been its total up to $47.1 million. And I think it's still being added in more theaters as it's seeing more success. People are wanting to get a hold of it.
And it is so far A24's most successful box office film, I believe. Best performing film that A24's put out there.
Well, how about that? Turns out cast Michelle Yeoh, and people are like, yeah, let's watch it.
Yo!
Yeah, very cool. Opening at number 4, Firestarter. So not so bad for something that no one knew about. 3.8 million brought in by it. So something, if it is being streamed on Peacock, not that bad for something no advertising and available at home. So we'll see how that one goes. Number 3, remaining at 3, Sonic the Hedgehog
After
2.
6 weeks.
Yeah, 6 weeks. Still bringing in $4.6 million, bringing its total to $175.8.
You can buy a lot of chili dogs with that.
Yep. So we'll just have to see about number 3 where we get Shadow. And how that one... Are we going to get the chows? Are they going to have the chows in the chow garden? And
Who knows? Who knows?
well, we'll see. There's a lot more Sonic to
Gotta get
draw from.
Spinball. That's what I want to know.
Yeah. Hopefully not the werewolf Sonic thing. Number 2, staying at number 2, The Bad Guys brought in $7 million this week in its 4th week. I did not realize it's been out for 4 weeks.
I know.
Bringing its total up to 66.4 domestic there. So staying up there. And then number 1, remaining at number 1, Doctor Strange, Multiverse of Madness, bringing in $61.7 million. Its domestic total after only 2 weeks, $292.6. So it made its money. We'll get
Bit
to
of a
see,
drop, though. You know,
sure, but-
they're talking about, I mean, it was an aggressive drop, but it's making its money, and people are talking about it. And
I don't see that many people talking about it, though.
I mean, because it's Marvel. It was like, what does this cameo mean for the future of the Marvel Cinematic Universe? Are we going to go with
Yeah.
Spider-Man? Are we going to get a Deadpool? Oh, my God, Professor X.
It's not the same as people talking about Spider-Man. It's not the same as people talking about Avengers or anything like that. I think people are going to watch it because they have to watch it.
But
it's
it's
not
contractually
something-
obligated.
It's not something where people are like, wow, you know what really blew me away?
But, I mean, the Sam Raimi parts, I mean, I've got my Deadite right here. This is Bad Ash back here on the set. I pulled him out last week when we were talking about Doctor Strange. But Vince says in movie news he was delighted to hear that the next Jurassic World will be the last of the franchise. So
That's what they say on
So
the
you
trailer,
think.
but you know, they can always be like, well, that's the end of this series and so begins Jurassic Galaxy.
Which is it's gonna happen.
Yeah. Yeah.
Raptors in space.
Maybe they'll do the next step. They'll do Jurassic Solar System and then Jurassic, Galactic Neighborhood, and then they'll do Jurassic Galaxy, and then Jurassic Universe.
You're gonna get all of it.
At some point, they'll run into the dinosaurs from Voyager that set off into space.
Oh, those lizard ones.
Yeah, the dinosaur,
the dinosaur
people,
race.
Yeah.
That were like those super intelligent dinosaurs.
Yeah, Al coming
So
in
weird.
did not like Doctor Strange 2. I didn't either at all. You can go back and look at our review on that one.
It was last week's episode, right?
I think so.
Yeah. Well, all right, guys, we're going to get out of here. Thanks for tuning in. We're out of time. You can always like and subscribe. Find us each week on your Facebook, Twitch, or YouTube, or you can just download the audio version of this show wherever it is you get your podcasts. You can download that, like, and subscribe, and tell your friends. Thanks for tuning in. Dina says someone built dinosaurs in a terrarium for the original meter, and there's a shrink ray. Beep, 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 beep. Shrink rays are always a good plot device. But anyway, yeah. We will be back next week, maybe talking about Downton Abbey, maybe talking about Men. We'll see. I don't know. We've got a whole week ahead of us. So, as always, I'm Bo, the Boom Operator.
I'm Slick Doggy the Grip.
And we'll see you guys next week. Bye now. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.